As far as anyone knows, Jay-Z has been on the pinnacle of his career for many years, at least almost 20. As everything was going in his life the way it was, he then had a friend named Biggie, and Biggie was already doing this thing with Puff, so we know the history about that. Now we're going to talk about the things that goes on in the industry that dealt with these two gentlemen who became two of the best. And we'll leave it at that. Just seems like yesterday. In Biggie's journey, he did everything he could do to actually rise up to where he was. You know the story about him in Brooklyn and everything else, but it's funny how everything relates to Puff and what happens later in time. Later in the 90s, 2000s is how everything goes through. So we're going to dive into that, talk a little bit about Puffy and go on. As opposed to Puffy and Big, their journey together was always known. Puffy got into legal scandals, he did a lot of things, accused of actually being involved with both him, Biggie as we talk about, and Tupac's death. Both of these deaths led to a whole difference in the music industry, period. Everybody thought they were still going to be on top, even till today. That can't be proven because they're gone. But with the way Puffy did big business with Clyde Davis and all the things that he was involved in, as we know about the oaths and everything else, there is something to think about when it comes to somebody who helped him rise, even after, until he eventually will fall. It's just funny how things go in this world. And when Puffy and Big were on top, really wasn't no challenge for anybody else except one person. And you know that was Tupac. The insane thing is, nobody really looked at Puff many years later. But then, a lot of things come to light through the truth. So Puffy now, what he's going through, that's just par for the course. Whatever happens to him is what's supposed to happen to him. The understanding, the knowledge, and everything else is what it is. And Puffy's been going a long time. Him and Biggie did their thing, and he made his money off of him all the way up until, well, he'll never be forgotten, but what would happen if Biggie was still alive today? And then that goes into Jay-Z's part and where he ended up and how he is now. So we're going to dive into that further. But right now, we just have to look back on history. Everything Gene Deal's been talking about, all the secrets, the things he's done. I mean, it's just a matter of time for Puff. And when it is the time for him to pay his price, we'll know, we'll see how it goes. But if it wasn't for him bringing Biggie on, and if it wasn't for Biggie, Jay-Z might have not have gotten as big as he did because of him being his friend. And eventually Biggie's death led to Jay-Z's rise. And everybody knows how that goes. Even back in the 90s, Jay-Z didn't really have a spark until Biggie died. And that's sad to say, but things go on for the reason they do. And as we know, Jay-Z did a lot of things to get to the top. A lot of people fell under. Dame Dash, Suge Knight, Jay Prince. It's crazy how everything happened. But this is the way everything goes in this industry, right? And that's a part of what you're into and how far you're going to go to be number one. And now the next up is the man that we've been here to talk about, the other side of the story, Jay-Z. From the 90s and the 2000s, Jay-Z did everything to rise to the top of his game, destroying some careers and losing to another. But in the same case of Jay-Z's life, he became a businessman and an entrepreneur, fought for everything he wanted, money-wise and business-wise. But what did that come to for friendship? And then we'll see what happens next from here. Jay-Z has somewhere to go and think of, and there's only one place he can. Back in the past. Becoming the main man at Def Jam and destroying it, having his own label, and then taking Dame Dash out. And even then, one of the biggest sins he did was destroy one of the biggest black distribution deals in history. Jay-Z did whatever he had to do to become the guy at the top, the next black godfather, where he also took care of, as we know, P. Didhe. being involved with his own documentary trying to take him down means he'll be left. No one else to challenge him. That was his way, and that's still his way now. Dame Dash, Irv Gotti, and Suge, and Jay Prince learned that for themselves. And what about friendship? After Biggie's passing, including Pac, Jay-Z became number one no matter what. They pushed his career till he got all the way to the point of being a legend that's still alive. Can't take away from his rhymes, but he's still a person that still holds sway. Other artists have come, but Jay-Z is still here, and some of them are not even around. When you look at everything that happened, Jay-Z did exactly what he had to do. He took over rap. Now he's in the business world, just playing up to the point of not having much, but still showing everybody he's a billionaire. It's sad to say this whole world ended up the way it did, but you know what? Biggie still is present in the game today, and even then, Jay-Z still uses some of his old rhymes. I guess the past never goes away, right? Just leave it up to that. Friendship goes a long way when it comes to power. Two people can take the same path and then veer off in different directions on the same two roads that lead to the same place. Jay-Z's the top man, Biggie was, and now he's not. And there's nobody else to actually come up and stop him from that legendary stride, man. So how do things go when we go on? It's just life. And that's just the whole part of it. But legends never die, right? You look at all the things that happen, we take from them what we will. Seeing how everybody ended up and where Jay-Z ended up. And then you have to ask yourself, what would you do if you had a choice? I guess there's no need for applause, right? You're already at the top. Who cares who's coming next? You're already there, right? Home. When it comes to legacy and what a man does with his life, he always has to think about everything he's did before and what he'll do after. And Biggie's legacy lasted even up until now and will go further. The only thing is about friends. No matter how much you trust them, they can't leave you in the dust. And betrayal is easy. It's harder just to keep relationships the same as brothers. So we look back on all this and say to ourselves, really when you think about it, are we all just chasing ghosts? Or we the ghosts ourselves? I guess the only people left to ask is Jay-Z and Puff.